Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt a strange sense of disconnect? A fleeting feeling that the person staring back isn't quite you, or at least not the you of this exact moment. What if that feeling wasn't just a trick of the light? What if your mirror was a window, not just to your reflection, but to a different time entirely? Imagine this. You wake up, stumble into the bathroom, and glance at your reflection. But something's off. The face looking back has a hairstyle you haven't worn in years. The background isn't your modern bathroom, but a room with vintage wallpaper you vaguely remember from your childhood home. You blink, shake your head, and it's gone. Just your normal reflection staring back, maybe a little more tired than usual. You'd probably dismiss it, right? A weird dream, maybe you're not fully awake, but then it happens again. A few days later, you're getting ready for work. You look in the mirror, and this time, the person staring back looks older. There are a few more lines around their eyes, a touch of gray at the temples. They're wearing clothes you don't even own yet, looking stressed, holding a coffee mug from a company you've never heard of. It's you, but it's a future you. The vision lasts only a second before snapping back to the present. Now, it's not just a weird dream. Now, it's a pattern. This is the core of a fascinating thought experiment, one that blurs the lines between physics, psychology, and horror. What if a common, everyday object like a mirror became a portal, a temporal anomaly? It's not reflecting light. It's reflecting time. Each glance could show you a moment from your past or a glimpse of your potential future. Let's explore the past first. Imagine seeing your younger self in the mirror. A child, full of innocence, playing with a toy you've long forgotten. It could be heartwarming, a nostalgic trip down memory lane. But what if you saw a moment of deep sadness? A difficult time you went through, a painful memory you've tried to bury. You see your teenage self crying after a breakup. You see yourself struggling with an exam you failed. You're forced to relive these moments, not as memories, but as a live broadcast. Would it help you heal, or would it just reopen old wounds? You can't interact, of course. You're just a spectator. You might want to reach out, to comfort your past self, to give them advice. Don't worry, it gets better, you'd want to say. Don't date that person. They're going to break your heart. But you're powerless. All you can do is watch. The mirror becomes a source of profound helplessness. You're haunted not by a ghost, but by the ghost of who you once were. This brings up some deep psychological questions. How would this constant bombardment of your past affect your identity? Our sense of self is built on the narrative we construct from our memories. But these memories are often filtered, softened over time. We forget the exact sting of failure, the precise depth of a heartbreak. A temporal mirror would strip away that filter. It would present your past in raw, unedited high definition. Would your carefully constructed self-image crumble under the weight of unfiltered reality? Now, let's flip the coin. What about the future? This is where things get even more complicated. Seeing your future self could be a gift or a curse. You might see a happy, successful version of you, surrounded by a loving family. That would be incredibly motivating, right? A confirmation that you're on the right path. It could give you the strength to push through current struggles, knowing that a bright future awaits. But what if the reflection shows something else? What if you see a future you that's unhappy, alone, or in trouble? A vision of yourself in a hospital bed or at a funeral. This is where the paradoxes begin. If you see a negative future, would you try to change it? Of course you would. But what if your attempts to change it are the very actions that lead to that future in the first place? This is the classic self-fulfilling prophecy. Let's say you see yourself in the mirror with a broken leg. You decide to be extra careful, so you avoid all sports. You take the elevator instead of the stairs. You never run. But one day, while cautiously walking down the street to avoid any potential hazards, You slip on a wet spot you didn't see because you were so busy looking for bigger dangers. And snap, you've broken your leg. Did you cause the future by trying to avoid it? The knowledge of your future, even in brief flashes, could paralyze you with fear and anxiety. Every choice you make would be weighed against the fragmented visions from the mirror. Should I take this job? I saw myself looking miserable in an office once. Should I go on this trip? I remember seeing a reflection of myself with a sunburn. Maybe something bad happens. Your life would no longer be a journey of discovery, but a desperate attempt to navigate a pre-written script you can only partially read. Free will becomes a terrifying illusion. And what about the nature of the mirror itself? Is it a scientific phenomenon? Perhaps it's located on a weak point in space-time, a sort of temporal rift. Maybe certain atmospheric conditions or a unique mineral composition in the glass are causing these strange reflections. Scientists would have a field day with it. They'd set up cameras, sensors, trying to capture and analyze the phenomenon. But what if the mirror's behavior is more personal? What if the mirror shows you what you need to see? Or perhaps what you fear the most? If you're anxious about aging, it shows you an older, frailer version of yourself. If you're dwelling on a past mistake, it forces you to watch it on a loop. The mirror becomes a manifestation of your own psyche, a psychological amplifier. It's not just a window to time, it's a window into your own soul, reflecting your deepest insecurities and desires back at you. Living with such an object would be an immense burden. Do you get rid of it? Smash it? But the curiosity would be overwhelming. The temptation to take just one more peek to see what happens next might be too strong to resist. You'd become addicted to the glimpses, whether they bring you joy or terror. It's like a slot machine, but instead of coins, you're gambling with your own timeline. And what if the visions start to bleed into your reality? You see a future reflection of a crack in your wall. The next day, the crack appears. You see a reflection of a letter on your doormat. An hour later, the mail arrives. The line between reflection and reality begins to blur. Are you seeing the future, or is the mirror projecting these events into your life? Is it a passive observer or an active participant in your destiny? This is the kind of story that sticks with you because it takes something mundane and makes it terrifying. We look in mirrors every single day without a second thought. They are our most intimate observers, the silent witnesses to our lives. The idea that this witness could show us more than just the present is profoundly unsettling. It taps into our universal curiosity about the future and our regrets about the past. So the next time you look in the mirror, take an extra moment. Look closely. Is the person staring back at you really you right here, right now? Or are you maybe, just maybe, catching a glimpse of yesterday or a whisper of tomorrow? Thanks for watching. If you enjoy exploring these kinds of mind-bending concepts, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments, if you had a temporal mirror, would you look? And what would you be more afraid to see, your past or your future? See you in the next one.